I don't know, Doc. What options are available for me?
Well, there are several therapeutic concepts we could explore. First of all, we could try working around with the method of insight therapy.
Okay, well, what's that?
Well, insight therapies are used for showing you your behaviors and various ways of accepting them. Next would probably be action therapy, if I'm being completely honest, being the second method, of course. Those are used for correcting said behaviors or changing the undesirable or inappropriate behaviors from to more desirable or appropriate ones.
Okay, and what's the third?
That's what we would call biomedical therapy. Those would be done by physically altering your body or brain to alleviate symptoms. To put it plainly, we would simply be using medication or sometimes machines to correct your brain function, if it were, to change your behaviors in some ways, to sometimes get rid of bad habits, if it will.
Okay, I think I understand. What would various approaches be using those types of methods? Like, what would it look like?
By any chance, are you familiar with Sigmund Freud? Okay, I'll take that blank stare as a no. Well, you see, Sigmund Freud was a 16th century psychologist who sort of brought about a new outlook on psychology, specifically in the in the idea of where these of the unconscious mind. So he theorized that people could have disturbing or socially unacceptable thoughts, desires, and moral urges that originated in a part of the brain or a part of the consciousness called the id, which is this underlying subconscious almost. And he developed a method called psychoanalysis, which is an insight therapy that emphasizes revealing the unconscious conflicts, urges, and desires that are assumed to be the cause of various emotions and behaviors that are disordered. So basically, he had these two techniques to try and reveal various repressed emotions and reveal some of your subconscious, which were dream interpretation and what was the other one? And allowing patients or clients to talk freely about anything that came to mind. So, that said, one of the methods we could explore with you is you telling me some of your dreams, and I could try to analyze the events of the dreams and potentially try to sort of make meaning of it by looking into deep psychological aspects that mapped your dreams. On the other side of that, feel free to talk to me. I mean, sometimes if you just sort of turn off your almost a sensor, you can surprise yourself with what you'll end up saying, and we could even make some type of breakthrough with you.
Okay, I could try that. What other options are available to me, though? I mean, talking about things is one thing, and you trying to determine how my dreams mean stuff psychologically is another thing. But if I want to say quicker results, how would I go about doing that?
Okay, well, in that case, let's look at the action therapies and those options that we can explore for you. Okay, well, while insight therapies reveal the motives behind your behavior, or would reveal the motives behind your behavior, action therapies would be focusing on changing the behavior. So the goal would be to, say, for behavioral therapy, it would be to change your behavior through the use of learning techniques. While if, say, we were to do the cognitive approach, the cognitive therapy would strive to change your maladaptive thoughts. Okay, let's look at your fear and anxiety for a moment. If we were to say use something like a systematic desensitization method, we could potentially help alleviate a lot of those fears. What that basically is a three-step process. Very first step, you have to relax, calm yourself down, get in a good and calm mood, then you'd construct a list, basically writing down from least to greatest things that you fear. And then the third step would be, under my guidance, pretty much having you look at it, think about it, sometimes in cases actually confront what you're afraid of. And what it should do is create an environment where you connect these things that you fear to a more calming and relaxed environment, and should alleviate the fear altogether, or at least work towards making it a lot less scary to you. Okay, well, the next thing we could try would be modeling. This was a theory or a method created by this man named Albert Bandura, who states that a person could overcome a fear by watching someone else do it, or doing something that would be needed to overcome the fear. So it would be a step-by-step process. Basically, for example, a model might approach a dog and then touch the dog and then pet the dog and finally say hug the dog, while a client such as yourself who is afraid of dogs, I know you aren't afraid of dogs, but let's say you would mimic those methods and see that, okay, if this person is mentally, would signal that, okay, if it's safe that for this person, it's probably going to be safe for me as well. And then running through those methods could help you overcome those fears by showing that there's nothing really bad about petting a dog. Well, we could also just quickly look at, say, cognitive therapies. This focuses on the distortions that you can have when you think. So, like jumping to conclusions, or selective thinking, or overgeneralizing various things. What we would attempt to do here would be to essentially rewire your brain so you stop doing that. You stop overgeneralizing, you stop jumping to conclusions, you stop doing that, and it'll help you a lot in the long run.
Okay, well, let's say those action therapies don't work. Then what is the last method? What's left? Okay, well, in that case, it would be biomedical. That would be pharmaceuticals or machinery, etc., to fix your brain patterns.
So, what that would essentially mean, if we were to say put you on something like that, we could look starting with with some anti-anxiety drugs such as Xanax or Ativan or Valium. They do have sedative effects in the right dose to relieve symptoms of your anxiety and fear. Of course, I would have to write you a prescription for some of them. For various types of depression, you were telling me you have a few depressive episodes. I could recommend various antidepressants. Those would obviously start to sterilize your depression and weaken its hold on you, as it will. I know that you are curious about more extreme methods. I wouldn't recommend this for you because you do not have severe depression. You only have a mild case. But there is always the option of electroconvulsive therapy, which sends neurotransmitters into the brain via electric shock to increase, to improve your mood, pretty much. It is effective, but I wouldn't recommend it unless it was a very severe case. Pharmaceuticals can, and will, for the most part, improve you. It is also used to treat schizophrenia, as well as other disorders, but you do not suffer from any of them, so you are in the clear for needing this. You thankfully do not need it. There are other machines, but for the most part, the pharmaceuticals should be right for you.
Okay, I think start working on some action therapies, if that's okay. I can get a piece of paper and start working on that list. I will say I might scream, but thank you. You've actually alleviated a lot of fears.
This whole thing.
Well, I'm certainly glad to hear that. As far as screaming goes, no need to worry. We have staff. We know what's going on here. I'll go grab you a pen. You grab a piece of paper from over there, and let's begin.